Got a chance to see Gladiator 2, directed by Ridley Scott. Let's talk about it right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I am your host, Frank Zenka. I am an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And yeah, if you've been watching my channel, you know that I write comics that have to do with vampires. This is my vampire mob set in 1950s Hollywood. This is issue 2, and here is issue 1. It's called Lords of L.A. It's about Lena, who is a lounge singer in the 50s, who is part of a love triangle. That's not really a love triangle because she doesn't love either one of them. But there's two vampire mob bosses that vie for her and one of them ends up turning her. Well, actually, we don't know who turned her at all, and she doesn't know either. So instead, she ends up leaving 60 years to come back with a new power set to be able to fight against them. So we have like a revenge story going on. It's pretty cool. Anyway, the interior art's really good as well, and I do sign them. So if you'd like a copy, let me know in the comments section, and I will get back to you. Plus, if you ever heard of Timothy Zahn, who created Thrawn for Star Wars, he and Kevin J. Anderson, Brandon Easton, just a pile of today's top writers have all teamed up to do a Green Hornet anthology that they will also be signing as well. And we're going to be launching that up on Kickstarter. But if you'd like to get notified, check out the description below. You'll find a link there to Kickstarter where you can just sign up and get notified. All right, so that's it for that. But yeah, jump on that because it's going to be pretty amazing. All right, let's jump into Gladiator 2. So Gladiator 2 is, of course, the sequel to Gladiator 1. Just called Gladiator because nobody ever figured that they would do a sequel to Gladiator. Nobody asked for this. Gladiator was a flash in the pan. It was done so well. It was very well crafted. It was well acted. It has a huge following. As the fan base for Gladiator is immense. There are people, including myself, that have watched it many times. It is a work of art, and it is going to be hard for anything to follow up with that. So I got an email from AMC for a blind screening. That means I have no idea what I'm going to see before I go. And I have walked out of them before where I'm like, yeah, I don't want to see this. So I didn't even put my recliner up because I didn't think I was going to end up staying because I had no idea what it was. The first time it's the way they have the theaters numbered is odd because the number matches it looks like it's like an optical illusion where it looks like it's with the wrong door. So I walked in and it was like an Indian foreign film that was playing because I was a few minutes late. And sometimes they don't want to have trailers for these. I'm like, oh, I'm not staying for this. And I walked out and I'm like, oh, I'm in the wrong theater. So I walked into this one, and you know what? This theater was packed. Do you know how many people had their cell phone on? Zero! I was so happy that I didn't get arrested this time. But yeah, so once I saw the scot-free logo come up, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm staying. Because, of course, Gladiator doesn't come out until this Friday. So I got to see it on Tuesday. This video's not going to go up till Wednesday. No, today's Monday until Tuesday. I went in there knowing that this was not going to be anything in comparison to the original. Okay, that's how I walked in. I didn't walk in that way. Once I saw the scot-free logo on, and me preparing for me seeing this later this week, from hearing everybody else's reviews, I knew that this was not going to be comparable. It couldn't be. It could not be comparable to the original. There was just no way. Like I said, it was a flash in the pan. That thing was a once-in-a-lifetime type of film. That's like trying to remake or do a sequel to Psycho. It's never going to live up to the original. So if you walk in, I'm just preparing you for this. If you walk in saying this is going to be just as good as the original, you're going to be sorely disappointed. Because like I said in my out of the theater review, is it as good as the original? Hell no. Hell no. I'm telling you that right now. It is not as good as the original. And it was just saying that it's going to be as good as the original has already set you up for failure. Because there's no way. And that's why everybody's saying that, why did he even make this film when there was no way that he could live up to what he did previously? You know, and I mean, people could say that about Star Wars too and stuff like that, that it was never going to be up to the original, although I think the second one was actually better than the first. And I think that a lot of people have that opinion. And I also have that opinion of Aliens. I think Aliens was better than Alien. So it is possible to have a sequel to a very, very popular and well-made film. However, Gladiator was a self-contained film. Yes, Alien was also self-contained. I don't think Star Wars was. I don't think that the original Star Wars was ever self-contained. Because we saw Darth Vader fly out into space, and right there you know that it wasn't self-contained. There was a lot of contrivances to make this work. Okay? Now, a lot of people said that's just basically a rehash of the original. And in some degree, that's true. In a lot of degrees, it's not. So this not only was written, not only directed by Ridley Scott, but it was written by two guys. And, of course, we also have the writer from the original Gladiator was credited. But David Scarpa, he hasn't done much. But Peter Craig is a master. Okay, he has so many credits, and when you hear these credits, you're gonna say, "Yeah, this guy can really do no wrong." So the first thing he ever did was The Town. He did The Batman. He did Top Gun Maverick. He did Bad Boys for Life. These are all things that he's written. So to say that this guy can't write, you'd be barking up the wrong tree. He also did The Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 1 and Part 2. This guy knows his shit, man. He knows how to write. So this David Scarpa guy, don't worry about him. But Peter Craig, he is a master writer. I can't say that this guy's never done anything. Yeah, so the other guy did Napoleon, which was panned by both critics and audience, although I enjoyed it just because I got to learn something and I like history. And he also wrote a few episodes of The Man from High Castle. But it's he doesn't have nearly the cred that Peter Craig has. So I like the idea of the script for this one. It is different. It has some of the same elements because, of course, you have, and I gotta smack Peter Craig for something in a second, but of course we have him going to the Colosseum, or else we have no movie, right? So it had to be that he had to become a gladiator, or else there's no movie. So in that sense, it is repetitive because we have the scenes where he has to battle inside and this is mostly going to be non-spoiler, so I'm not going to go into any of the twists. We have the gladiator scenes, which are repetitive to the original, although they try to do things differently because they actually put water into the Colosseum. I did look that up, and they did do naval battles in the Colosseum, mock naval battles in the Colosseum. So that is true by any historic means. Denzel Washington does a great job in here. He is the motivator of the plot all the way through for the most part. And he says something in one of his speeches or one of his lines that in the back of my head I'm going, no man, that's not true. And I ended up being correct. So when we get the main character and this is part of my problem too. So Paul Marcel, I don't know what they called him originally, but he is Lucius, and he is the daughter of Connie Nielsen's character, Lucilia, and from the original, which was also Maximus's son, right? And she had to have him run away because I guess I missed this part, so I went to the bathroom. Because I guess they, because he was now going to be the new leader. He was the heir to Rome. She had to have him disappear. We pick him up, of course, in the beginning when he's already an adult, and then we have flashbacks. But anyway, Denzel Washington, in one of the lines, after he purchases Lucius, I'm just going to call him Lucius from this point on, and I'll get to Paul here in a second as far as his acting's concerned, and he says, hose him down. And most people would just have that go out of their head, but for me, it stuck through the whole movie. It stuck in my head going, they didn't have hoses. They didn't have hoses in ancient Rome. Sorry, they had running water. That they had an aqueduct system, but they did not have hoses. You weren't, cleaning off roads with hoses. There was no rubber. They didn't have rubber at that point. How would you have a hose? Yeah, so in the back of my head, that just stuck there. So Connie Nielsen does a good job for what she has, although I think she overplayed the role a little bit when she had to cry and stuff like that, and she overplayed it, I thought. Pedro Pascal, he was good in this. I'm just so tired of seeing him in everything. Can we get any other friggin' actor to play any other role besides Pedro Pascal? I mean, I swear that every studio and network has his agent on speed dial. It's like, come on, man. So as far as Paul Mescal is concerned, his acting was okay, but he did not have the gravitas of Russell Crowe. It wasn't even close. He had to give his speeches and stuff like that, and it wasn't even close. And he has, of course, everybody rallying behind him, and I never felt like it was earned. Where with Russell Crowe, when everybody rallied behind him and started following his orders and stuff like that, I felt that was earned because he was already a general. He already knew how to command people. He knew how to demand respect, and he did it. And we as an audience felt that. We felt that, yeah, you're going to follow this guy because he knows what he's talking about, and if you don't, you're going to die. And he has that respect, respect is earned, right? So he earned that respect even just walking into a room. He earned respect. Paul does not have that. He does not have that. And even during one of his speeches, he says, I'm not a general. And it's so obvious, but yet they have him go out commanding. And we never saw that in his life previous. So that's one error. That's a huge error. They could have gotten somebody else that commanded that respect, and they could have written it where he was more of a commander. But he was actually under Peter Mensa's character, and he was in Spartacus. So that was interesting to bring him into this because he's already done this kind of role. Then you had Joseph Quinn in here, and I was trying to figure out who this guy was. He plays one of the emperors, so there's two brothers that are emperors in here. And he's the one from Stranger Things who played Munn or whatever. He's going to be in Fantastic Four as the Human Torch, which I definitely don't see. But he was very, very good in here. That guy is a chameleon. And I really hope he can pull Johnny Storm. I don't see it. Then the one that played his wife was in very little. She's had very little credit. She's done a little couple of miniseries. And then you had Matt Lucas, who played the announcer. He was the Tweedledum and Tweedledee in Alice in Wonderland. But anyways, he had a really good, again, Denzel Washington was the one that was propelling this whole thing. And again, I really like some of the twists and turns here. I thought that the script kept those kind of things going. I would not have ended it like they did. I thought they kind of shied. I know why they did the ending the way they did, but I thought they shied away from what could have been. And I think the could have been would have been a more epic ending than what they did. And you guys can let me know once you see it. But yeah, so overall, I liked the movie. I did not like it as much as Gladiator, which is more of like a 9 to a 9.5. This is more of that above average 7.5 type of movie. And so don't expect this perfect movie or this perfect follow-up to the original, because it's not that. It is just a good time at the movies. It's full of action. It does have some emotional moments. It does have some twists and turns to it. So for that, I recommend the film. If you walk in there saying, this sucked compared to the original, you are going to be right. You are going to be right. But you don't walk in there like that. Just don't walk in there saying, I have to compare this to the original, because there's no comparison. There's no comparison. I do like that they brought back the other senator from the original and Connie Nielsen. So I'm glad they brought a few people back. But anyway, so I enjoyed it. 7.5 is pretty much where my number is. Enjoyable time at the movies. It'll keep your interest. No cell phones. Always a plus. And that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think. And no hoses. No hoses. Now, you're going to hear it now that I said it. In ancient Rome. All right, so check out some of my other videos as well. Remember to give me a like, give me a subscribe if you can. If you can, ring that bell and help me out grow this channel. That'll be great if you don't mind me ranting. And also, remember to check out the description and the link below, or the link in the description below, I said that backwards, for Green Hornet. And if you'd like to buy me a cup of coffee, the link is in there as well. All right, I will see you guys on the next episode. Have a great week, and Thanksgiving's coming. All right, talk to you soon.